The 99% are out in force here in front of the Federal Reserve Building in Washington, D.C. This Martin Luther King Day being the first day of Occupy the Dream.
We are asking for three things to take place. The first thing that we're asking for, because so many people are asking, what is Occupy standing for? Why are they in those tents? Why are they outside? Why are they setting up shelters? The first thing that we're asking for today is, in fact, campaign reform. We do not want politicians to be puppets. We don't want them working for whoever is the biggest donor. We want to remind all of our elected officials that they are for the people and by the people. You should not win just because you had the biggest treasury. You should win because you have the biggest principles. And so we stand today for corporate reform. Those of you who stand in agreement, let's occupy your voices even now. Second thing that we're asking for. We're asking for absolute security on Pell Grants so that all of our young people might be able to compete on a global stage with affordable education. It is horrific. It is a miscarriage of justice that there is, in fact, more student loan debt than there is credit card debt. That there are more people trying to pay off their degrees than trying to pay off flat screen TVs. And so it is incredible injustice that these young people have trained themselves, educated themselves, cannot have the opportunity to learn, to prosper, and to go forward. We want every child in America not to be left behind, but to be able to compete in computers, in science, in math, in reading, and on a global stage. So we're not just here for ourselves, but we're here for our children. If we stand for our children, would you make some noise for that, please? Third thing that we're asking for is an immediate moratorium on all foreclosures. An immediate moratorium on all foreclosures. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, there are 18 million vacant houses in America. 18 million vacant houses in America that 36 months ago were occupied. That is absolutely inhumane and insane. Furthermore, in the next quarter, this first quarter of the year, between now and April, 4 million hard-working Americans are going to lose their homes. Not Mr. Gingrich, not Mr. Romney because they're lazy, not because they're unmotivated, but because they have been robbed by an unjust system. And so we're calling for Senate to do a full exploratory committee on how predatory lending was able to go that far without ever being checked. How is it that the American government bailed out banks but would not bail out the people who hold the accounts? We, in fact, ask that there will, in fact, be no foreclosures until there is a clear understanding how these balloon mortgages were, in fact, enacted, how these people got caught in predatory lending, how they, in fact, gave homes to people who they knew did not qualify and then set them out on the street as if they were ravaged animals. Today, we stand outside of the Federal Reserve Bank. Why? Because it was this institution that gave the money to AIG. This institution gave the money to the Ford Motor Corporation. This institution gave the money to Bank of America. And so we stand for the nameless and faceless people across America who got put out of their homes, put out of their shelter, as if this is not the land of the free and the home of the brave. So Dr. King asked the question, how long? Until everybody can keep their house. If you believe that, would you raise your voice even now?
So today feels like at least the beginning of the second chapter of the Occupy movement, a major escalation.
Yes, this is Occupy 2.0. It's going into a whole nother level. Young people are being involved, college campuses involved, churches are being involved. And so what you're going to see is not Occupy on the fringe, but it's coming to a kitchen table issue that every person is represented in Occupy.
But will Occupy the Dream and the black churches abandon the support that they gave President Obama in 2008 and work with Occupy Wall Street and the Occupy movement for a new world?
I know a lot of people in the Occupy movement would be very happy to hear you say, as you did say earlier, that you're holding both parties accountable to these same terms.
Yes.
You know President Obama's not going to give in to these demands.
Oh, he's going to have to. Power concedes nothing without demand.
And when it doesn't?
then we're going to have to, in fact, speak truth to power, hold him accountable. He can't be president if he doesn't have our vote. November 6th is going to be a date with destiny where Occupy is going to get up from the tent and go into the polling station.
Some say it's happening right here, starting right now this week. The escalation of the movement, even as winter sets in, begins. Tomorrow on the 17th, Occupy Congress comes to town. We expect thousands of people to descend on Washington, D.C., leading up into a week of protests that will culminate Friday with protests at the Supreme Court, the anniversary of Citizens United, which of course is the court ruling from the Supreme Court that allowed the complete hijacking of our electoral system, and some within the Occupy movement are coalescing around that being the sole issue, the single issue that they want to focus on, fight for first. I'm Dennis Traynor Jr. You're watching Acronym because you stand for something.